Radio check, loud and clear, loud and clear. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage here in Barcelona. It is nice and sunny out here and we have got lots of action up ahead for us today. So we're 30 minutes away from the start of free practice. We've got a lot of action up ahead, as I just said, and yeah, a lot of upgrades as well have been brought. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We already got 250 people tuned into the live stream. That is fantastic. And very much do appreciate the support, folks. Look forward to commentating to you guys for the whole weekend. And yeah, okay. So we have got upgrades for every single team. The new technical directive has come in as well. So with back in China we had the stiffened rear wings, and the McLaren's flexi rear wing sort of died down after China. And then we're having the same thing happen now for the front wing, where the front wing is going to flex a lot less than it previously did, which means that, well, what we think will happen is McLaren will slow down, Ferrari should catch up, and Red Bull should stay around about where they are. But, we'll wait and see what actually does happen in the practice session sooner rather than later. All right. I've got the new sort of information up on the screen with all of the track data and stuff like that, so you can see all of the see where the DRS zones are, the DRS detection points are, the speed traps, and then also some of the corner names as well. What else have we got to talk about? Well, this circuit, I'll take you through a lap of this circuit as well, in fact, while we're waiting. So let's go through a lap of Barcelona. You come out of the final corner here, and that corner is very close to being flat in quali. In the race, not so much, and it does really wreck your front left tyre, and that's going to be a common theme around this circuit. Your front left tyre is feeling the most pain around here. Through turn number 1, your front left tyre feels a lot of pain. Turn number 3 especially, there is huge loads for the front left tyre going through turn number 3. You're going 6th gear, 250 miles per hour, 250 k's per hour, sorry, and dip a wheel onto the grass there. You get a good exit, and you get onto this little mini straight here before Worth corner, where the car tilts to the left and then goes over this little crest where you want to keep it under control. It's quite easy to lose the car through that second part. Then you're flat through here, another DRS zone as you head down the second straight of the circuit. Brake at the 100-meter mark, and now you go round this sort of extended part of the circuit. They've obviously changed the layout of the track to for them to take the outer corner rather than the sharper hairpin, so it's a lot more flowing. And then of course you just make your way around the outside part of the corner, outside part of turn number 13, and that is a lap of the Barcelona circuit. Yeah. Another F1 track without overtaking. See, this is the thing. You say that, however, back in 2024 we had I think we had 50-something overtakes in 2024 at this circuit. They weren't easy DRS passes or anything like that, and it was in fact the race that had the second most overtakes in the entire Formula 1 calendar last year. So in 2023 it was also, I think, in the top 5 for the races that had the most overtakes, and in 2022 as well, I think it was also in the top 5. So 50 plus overtakes in the past 3 years, each year having more than 50, so 150 overtakes in total in the last 3 years, or more than that, to be honest. And we've had quite a bit of good racing around here. The other thing is that there will be 2 stops taking effect. A lot of teams will be doing 2 stops. In fact, 2022 was a 3-stop race because the tyre wear was so high. It all depends on tyre temperature around here in Barcelona. If it's extremely hot, then maybe we'll be pushed towards a 3-stop. But regardless, there are 2 pit stops and loads of overtaking, so it should be good. Alright, clockwise or anti-clockwise? It is clockwise this weekend. We are going clockwise around the circuit. Yeah, hopefully we can see the radio messages come through today. We'll just have to wait and see if hopefully it does work, but there's no guarantees as always. It is pretty useful. We might even see some rookies, in fact, because Barcelona is one of these circuits where rookies have a lot of experience driving at. The teams are a little bit more confident to give the rookies practice time around Barcelona, let's say, compared to Monaco. And the other thing is the drivers also have loads of experience around here. You know, they used to test here back in, I think, before 2020. They always tested at Barcelona for at least 5-6 years, and that meant that a lot of the older drivers like Science, like Hamilton, like Verstappen, and they've all had a lot of practice around the circuit here, and they've done thousands and thousands of kilometers, meaning that they could probably have no issues with sitting out one free practice session, letting one of the rookies drive, and the rookies can get their time in the Formula One cars. That would be great. So I will let you know if we have any rookies driving. In fact, we'll see them pop up on screen soon enough, and that'll be interesting. We'll see how the rookies cope around the circuit. Of course, very 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 long corners, so it will put quite a big strain on their necks. But you know, I'm sure they'll cope. Of these historical circuits. Yeah, especially it's one of those circuits where it is a purpose-built circuit. We've been racing here for a very very long time. I think since 1991 was the first race here in Barcelona. So yeah, we've been racing here for a while, and it's been pretty good racing throughout the years. And yeah, it's great to go to a purpose-built circuit. You know, with a track that's wide enough and things like that, and should aid the overtaking. You know, we did pretty minimal overtaking out in Monaco last weekend, so yeah. Are there any upgrades except the front wings? No, not really. I think Mercedes have brought some upgrades to their floor, and all of the other teams have just bought some cooling upgrades here and there because in Barcelona, of course, it's very, very sunny, very hot, and they do have to take that into account when they're doing their cooling packages. So they brought some slightly bigger cooling packages this weekend, but I don't think there's any other upgrades. In fact, I will just run through it. I've got the upgrade list up here on my phone. In fact, so let me just run through all of the teams. So McLaren don't bring any upgrades. They do have a modified front wing for the new technical directives. However, they tested that out in Imola, so it doesn't even show up on the upgrades list. Then we have Ferrari, which have changed their rear wing. And that's only for this circuit though. It's a circuit specific upgrade. It's not that they're actually bringing a upgraded part. Then we have the same thing for Red Bull. They've brought a new front wing, which is, of course, for the technical directive. Then Mercedes have brought a new front wing, and they've also got upgraded floor as well. So upgraded floor and also slightly upgraded rear wing. So Mercedes should be, this is the race really for Mercedes. They've got to capitalize. They've got to gain back some places because the Constructors' Championship is getting very close, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But Aston Martin, just front wing upgrades for them. And then we've got Alpine with some changes to their front wing as expected, and then some changes to their floor as well. So Alpine have got a little bit of floor upgrades, which might help them out. Haas have got front wing change as expected. Then we've got Visa Cash App. We've got the Racing Bulls, which have got front wing changes, and yeah, just changes to their nose really, just everything to the front of their car. Williams have got front wing changes, and then just some modified cooling systems for Spain because it's a bit hotter. And then we've got Kick Sauber with also some changes to their front wing and changes to their floor. So some upgrades for Sauber, and hopefully that helps them out. All right. I'd really appreciate it if you didn't spam in the chat. But what do I think about Williams so far in 2025? I think Williams have made some great progress. So they are definitely definitely the most improved team in 2025. We can say that for certain, going from 2024 to 2025. Biggest performance uplift for them. And in the Constructors' Championship, it stands out. They're in 5th position. They're behind, of course, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren, but they are double the points of Haas and double the points, or more than double the points of Racing Bulls. So, they've had a great improvement. All right. Hamilton is still displayed as Mercedes in the speed section. Yeah, no, we've got the speed section has got the drivers from last year. Like, folks, the data's always sort of out of sync before the session starts, and we'll have the full data coming through in about 10 minutes time. So don't worry about that. We've still got it's got the drivers from last year. Like, it's got Guan Yu Zhou driving the Sauber, and we've got Ocon driving the Alpine. Like, it's all of last year's names. It's not really an issue. We'll have everything switched through back to normal. All right. It is the test track. Every team knows it very well. Yes, that is true, and they have all of the simulation data as well. It is very, very. So all of the drivers, their sims, the race sims are very, very accurate, especially for Barcelona. Okay, so now just looking at the Constructors' Championship, we can see that Mercedes have got 147 points. They're in second place here. And Red Bull have got 143 points, and Ferrari 142 points. So there is genuinely 5 points of a difference between the team in second place and the team in fourth place. And Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari all fighting it out for second place in the Constructors' standings. Who is it going to be, really? We'll see. Mercedes, of course, will have brought their upgrades this weekend. Ferrari, not so much. They've just brought their front wing changes, and that should get them closer in the fight, really. And then Red Bull, of course, they've just got Max Verstappen helping them out, bringing in pretty much every single point that the team has scored. So who knows what will happen and who will end up in second place. Actually, let me know, folks. Who do you think will end up in second place by the end of the season? Will it be Mercedes? Will they be able to pull through with some upgrades and Russell and Antonelli will outperform Verstappen? Or will it be Ferrari? Will they suddenly this weekend bring a bunch of upgrades, have a bunch of performance and be able to deliver for the rest of the season? Or will it be Max Verstappen being able to keep it up in second place? We have the radio in free practice. Yeah, we should have the radio. Of course, there's no radio messages coming through 17 minutes before the session starts, but hopefully we have the radio messages coming through. Best Grand Prix, in my opinion. Drivers love it. Barcelona's way better than Madrid. I don't know why F1 wants Madrid. Well, I know why F1 wants Madrid. It's because Madrid's going to pay them more money than Barcelona will pay them. And that's why they want Madrid. Oh, apologies. Let me just block the adverts again. Yeah, so that's why they want Madrid. But yeah, no, the Barcelona circuit is very, very, very good, and I think it should stay on the calendar right till the end of the season, right till not obviously the end of the season, but right for the next couple of years, next 10, 15 years. Why not? If Miami can get a contract extension, surely we can see a contract extension for Barcelona as well. Okay. Carlos and Williams can be in the points. Yeah, I mean, the Williams, in fact, have historically not been too good around here. I think it's been 10 years or 9 years or something since they have made it through into Q3, any of the Williams cars, and then it's been in the last 3 years, neither of the cars have made it into Q2. So, hopefully this weekend can be a turnaround point for them. Same thing for Fernando Alonso. Of course, it's his home race. Same thing for Carlos Sainz. 2 drivers with a home race. And hopefully Alonso can bounce back. He was doing so well and then ended up out of the points. Well, ended up DNFing, didn't he? So yeah, really not great for Alonso. I mean, Alonso's had so many DNFs this season. He had a DNF last weekend. He had a DNF in Australia, DNF. I think he's had 3 or 4 DNFs this season so far. And then he's finished P11 also a couple of times. Still no points on the board for Fernando Alonso this season. And if he doesn't score points this season, if he doesn't score points this race, it'll put him on track to be for it to be his worst Formula One season since his first one back in like 2001 or whenever Fernando Alonso joined. He's on track to be. It's his worst season since his first ever season in Formula One, which is not great to say the least. Hopefully he can score some points this weekend, but you never know. Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso, in fact, came into a press conference and said that since Adrian Newey's joined the team, he's felt the whole team sort of get an upgrade and uplift in performance and development. So hopefully that should help them out. and their pace looked promising in Imola, so it should be good around here as well. As Fernando Alonso's pace in Monaco was also great, so hypothetically, Alonso should be. Well, not hypothetically. Theoretically, he should be doing good here in Spain as well, but we'll just have to wait and see. All right. Yeah, Alonso was in Minardi in 2001, exactly, in his rookie season. So it's his worst season if he doesn't score points this race, which is a pretty big if. I think he'll probably score points, but if he doesn't, then it'll be his worst season on record since his rookie season back in 2001. I mean, I guess it's his rookie season this season as well. So who knows? What's up with the Merc engines? Yeah, it hasn't been really great. Alonso had issues. I think Russell had issues in quali in Monaco. Antonelli had issues in Imola, and then I think Ferrari engines were also having some issues as well. The Haas, it must have been 2 or 3 weekends ago now, but the Haas team were also struggling, and Sauber's also having some engine issues. So, yeah, reliability just having a little bit. Well, you do have to be wary of reliability, really. I mean, we had a DNF from Gasly as well, so the drivers will be careful, and the teams will be just putting on a little bit extra cooling to make sure that the engine and stuff doesn't overheat for the race. It felt like Adrian had done some quick fixes on the Aston, even though he should be working on the 2026 car. Yeah, I think so. That is Yeah, that's probably what happened, really, because Aston Martin's upgrades were really just not that great whatsoever, and then suddenly out of nowhere, oh, it's just popped up for. Why is it showing the Monaco data? Give me a sec, folks. Let me just adjust. I don't know why it's showing Monaco. All right, we should be getting the updated data very, very soon, and as you can see, it's popped up to Spain, and then we'll get the stuff on the left hand side updated to the Spanish Grand Prix stuff as well, not Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, the Monaco Grand Prix is really a race to forget, to be honest. Not much else to really comment about that one. Who's your promising rookie for 2025? Isaac. Isaac for me. Well, I think, yeah, Isaac has been doing brilliantly, and Antelli as well. Those two drivers, I'd have to give it to them. Behrman has come in and he's done some good performances against Esteban Ocon, but nothing outstanding or nothing exceptional. And, he's also been sort of outshadowed by the fact that the Haas isn't that quick. And the same thing for Bortoletto. He's been doing brilliantly and competing against Nico Hülkenberg and sometimes beating him on occasion as well. But just because the Sauber isn't that quick and just because the Haas isn't that quick, they aren't really standing out too much. Unfortunate, to be honest. Very, very unfortunate. All right, fantastic. Let me get the data up. There we go. All right. So, as you can see there, track temperature 46 degrees, 47 degrees out in. All right. Let me just get everything cleared up and ready to go. Okay, brilliant. So, yeah, as you can see, track temperature 47 degrees. It is extremely hot here in Barcelona. It always is. And the drivers will be very wary of that. The teams will be wary of that. The forecast, I think, for the Sunday as well, just predicting more sunshine. And more sunshine means more hot track, more high tire temperatures and track temperatures, which means that the teams will go out now and they will gather the tire wear data for warm conditions, because it's going to be very, very relevant come Sunday. Right. Which team's engines do you think will be the best next season? Well, by the looks of it, Mercedes seem to have a pretty good engine. Honda as well seems to be doing all right. I don't know about Ferrari or Red Bull or Cadillac, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see, really. But according to sort of the rumors from the pit lane, Mercedes are pretty confident with how things are going. Yeah, the weather on Sunday is in fact meant to be just like even hotter in Barcelona, and yeah, just clear skies, sunny skies, and warm conditions. Okie dokes. We've got 2,200 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that as well. It very much does help out the channel, and hopefully we can make our way towards I don't know, I forgot to update the like target. Let me put it to 1,500. That's normally what it is for free practice sessions. All right. 1,500 it is. Brilliant. Oh, I just forgot to press OK. All right. Fantastic. If we could hit that, then that'd be brilliant. Yeah, I've redone the calculations, and theoretically we could actually hit 200k by the summer break. So by I think it is the race before the Belgian Grand Prix, we could hit 200k. Of course, people that are watching do need to subscribe, but in theory, it is possible. I've just redone the calculations. So at the start of the season, it was looking like it was going to happen right at the end. In Abu Dhabi, last race of the season, we were going to hit 200k. But the way things are going, for the Hungarian Grand Prix at the end of August, we might be able to have 200k by that point. We'll just have to wait and see. All right. Does the increased tire temperature make tire wear worse? Indeed it does. And the other thing to sort of take into account here in Barcelona, we haven't really got that many big traction zones. As you can really look around the circuit, the lowest speed corner on the entire circuit is turn number 10, and it's pretty high speed for that matter. Like, it's not you where you break down to second gear and then have to accelerate all the way back up again. You're carrying around fourth gear through that corner, so it's a pretty high speed track overall, which just means that it essentially just means that the rear tires don't actually feel too much pain around this circuit. The front tires are the one doing a lot of the heavy lifting, going through turn number 3, going through turn number 4, turn number 9, turn number 14. It's all very, very tricky on the front tires, especially the front left. I mean, if we count the number of long right-hander corners, you've got turn number 1 reasonably long, turn number 3 very long, turn number 4 again very long, and again a right-hander. 9 is very long, and 13 and 14. So your front left tire is the biggest limiting factor around this circuit, and we'll start to see the drivers complain as soon as they drive out the pit lane, basically, about the front left tire overheating, not having enough grip, and that is going to be the sort of limiting factor for the drivers when it comes to coming into the pits. They would be able to do probably a one-stop if it wasn't for the front left tire wearing out so quickly. If let's imagine the teams could put they could put soft tires on the rears, and they could put hard tires on the fronts. In that situation, the tire wear would be even between the front and the rear. The rears would wear out a lot less, and the fronts would wear out a lot more. The other way around. Fronts would wear out less because they're on hard tires, and the rears would wear out quicker because they're on softs. But it would balance out because you don't actually use the rear tires too much around this circuit, and essentially the front tires are the big problem point, and we'll see how the drivers deal with it. Of course, with the new front wing as well, that will bring some challenges, maybe slightly different downforce levels than expected on the front wing, but I'm sure the teams will be able to cope. F1 Gamer, what's the current situation behind the flexi wings? What teams are going to get a big hit to the performance? Which teams are going to be benefited from the regulations? Well, it's in theory, McLaren should get slower. We don't really know what's going to happen. Same thing for a lot of the teams here. Like, we don't really know what's going to happen. So McLaren, however, do seem the best prepared. McLaren brought their sort of non-flexi wing, so stiff wing, to test in Imola. So 2 races ago, they brought it to Imola to test if it works properly, and of course it did. And they had to make no tweaks to it whatsoever, and they brought it to this weekend with no changes from the one in Imola, and it looks like they're good to go. So They got a sort of a thumbs up from the data in Imola, and they're feeling pretty confident going into this weekend. So maybe McLaren won't take a big hit. The other thing is Ferrari should improve a little bit. And the same thing for Mercedes. Well, Mercedes have got upgrade package this weekend, so they're going to improve regardless, I think, because their upgrade packages work most of the time. And Ferrari should be getting quicker because they're not affected by the flexi wings whatsoever. Any thoughts on Alonso this race as it's his home race? Um, yeah, I mean, I hope that he does well. Really, there's not much else. I'd appreciate if you guys don't spam too much in the chat. Like, I will read your chat message eventually, and if I don't miss it, then I do apologize. But there are thousands and thousands of chat messages that come through. I wouldn't be able to commentate if I reacted to every single one of them. But yeah, if you could keep spam to a minimum, that'd be brilliant. Did McLaren change their wing? Yeah, they did. All of the teams had to change their wing. None of the wings were compliant beforehand, and they have made them compliant. Just to sort of demonstrate what the FIA have done. Previously, the FIA said that, I don't know exactly how much they were testing before. I think it must have been like 20 kilograms worth of force or 30 kilograms worth of force. But now the FIA are testing 100 kilograms of force on either side of the front wing. So I think 200 kilograms in total. And what that does is the front wing is not allowed to move more than 1.5 centimeters. So that's the maximum the front wing can move if you put 200 kilograms of force onto it. And and the teams will have passed those tests, otherwise they wouldn't have been allowed to take part in qualifying. So yeah, all right. So here we go then. Round number 9 of the Formula 1 circuit here in Barcelona. There's quite a bit of elevation change here, 30 meters of elevation change around the circuit, and we are 3 minutes away from the start of the session. The tyres that we've got from Pirelli are the C1, the C2, the C3. It is the hardest of their tyre compound range, with the hards being around about a second and a half slower than the soft tyres. Quite a big difference compared to the typical 1 second that we see between the soft and the hards, and that's purely because they are the hardest tyres of the Pirelli's range. And yeah, that basically just means that, I don't know, the exact sort of tyre physics means that they're going to be a second and a half slower. But you do need that around this circuit. Loads of long corners, very hot track temperatures as well, which means that tyre wear is at an all-time high. Do you do this every race? Indeed, I do. I do commentate all of the races, all of the practice sessions, all of the qualifying sessions. So if you guys are interested in tuning into remaining streams to the rest of the season, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. That would be fantastic. Okay. So, folks, we do have rookie drivers today. We do have rookie drivers. Victor Martins is going to be taking part for the Williams team, as far as I can tell. He is lining up at the end of the pit lane, getting ready to go qualifying. So, yes, as you can see there, 15th position, MAR, Victor Martins. He is going to be one of the rookies driving in the free practice session today. What are your thoughts on Carlos Sainz this weekend? I think Carlos Sainz has been doing brilliantly so far. Of course, he gets priority, I think, because it's his home Grand Prix. Albon is sitting out of FP1 and giving his seat to Victor Martins, and Carlos Sainz gets to drive around in FP1. And yeah, I think Sainz will do well. Hopefully Alonso can do well and not get a DNF like last weekend, and should be an exciting session, really. We've got the drivers already lining up at the end of the pit lane. I don't know why they're saying coffee over the radio message to Liam Lawson, but we are getting the radio messages in as well. F1 Gamer, they said they're going to reduce the flexi wings by making the wings 33% more stiff. What do you think about the response from the FIA? Do you think that the decision is good or bad? I think it's a good decision, because otherwise the teams are pointlessly chasing like this idea of flexible wings, which is a good idea, of course, but it's it's a very expensive endeavor. You've got to sort of do loads of iterations. You've got to design multiple different front wings with different carbon fiber layups and stuff. I don't know exactly how, well, I'll like sort of explain how the carbon fiber system works, but essentially what happens is you have layers of carbon fiber and you can put them in sort of different orientations, and that will affect the strength characteristics, how stiff they are, how flexible they are. So the teams have to do a lot of experimenting and waste a bunch of carbon fiber, waste a lot of money on developing front wings that are too flexible or too stiff, and it's just a pointless endeavor, and it's not sort of meant to be in the regulations, and that's why we have got the FIA banning them. All right, give me just a second here. We should have the data a little bit more up to date. I think it's a little bit too far out of sync. Let me just apply that. All right. And let me get rid of this countdown timer as well. Fantastic. All right, we got drivers out onto the circuit. Brilliant job there. And let's wait and see what's going on track then. Yeah, just drivers making their way out, and we'll be able to see them driving around. So medium tyres for Lance Stroll to start out, and everyone else is out on hards. I think Victor Martins is the only rookie taking part today. Oh no, we've got Ryo Hirakawa taking part instead of Esteban Ocon in the Haas team. And yeah, that seems to be it really. Victor Martins and Ryo Hirakawa for the two rookie drivers in this weekend session. You know, we would probably see more, but the teams have brought some upgrades here and there. You know, Mercedes have brought some upgrades. You don't want to be sending rookie drivers out when you want to be gathering information and sort of testing data on whether your upgrades work, whether they don't work, what things need to change. And that's why we've got some... That's why we've only got two rookies rather than, you know, say 4 or 5 or 6. But... pretty standard stuff, really. And the drivers now just doing their install laps. Of course, we had the race in race in Monaco 5 days ago, and the teams will have disassembled all the cars, reassembled everything back at the circuit here in Barcelona, and they will just make sure that everything is working as expected before they go out and do their full long runs. Albon's sitting out this free practice 1 session to give Victor Martins a practice, to give him some practice in Formula 1 cars, and the same thing for Esteban Ocon. All right. So here we go then, ladies and gents. We are underway for practice here in Barcelona. Let me just get a quick sip of water. I'll be back in just a second, folks. Okay. Who was the last driver to win in Spain other than Max and Lewis? Ooh, I think that's it's been a while since we've had someone that isn't Max or Lewis. So we will. I guess I'll have a look. Previous GP winners for the Spanish Grand Prix. Oh, 2018 Seb Vettel, fair enough, yeah. Because 2019 was Hamilton, because they had a little bit more downforce than the Ferraris. 2020, the W11 was insane. And then 2021, it might have been Max that won that one, actually. I think Max won in 2021, and then ever since, Max has just won again and again. 2021, 2022, 23, 24. So it might make it 5 in a row. All right, Lando Norris comes across the line on 1:16.095 for him, and I'll get you the pole time from last year to see what sort of lap times we'll be looking at. But the circuit, there's got a lot of rubbering in to do, a lot of cleaning up to have as well, and then the lap times will start to drop. Oh, 2021 was Lewis. Okay, I guess I've forgotten then. I mean, it was what's it now? 4 years ago now. So, yeah, it's all right. I think I commentated that one as well. Who Who knows? Oh, yeah, I think Verstappen took the lead into turn one, but then Hamilton beat him by doing a two-stop race or something. Um, can't remember exactly, but Piastri comes across the line, and look at this. We're 2 laps into the free practice session, and the McLaren drivers are within 9 milliseconds of each other. Like, oh, this championship fight is going to be brilliant. Has Aston Martin brought any upgrades? No, just a tweaked front wing for Aston Martin. No major upgrades this weekend. Okay, we've got Stroll. Oh, Stroll up into fourth. Oh, look at that. McLaren 1-2 from Aston Martin 3-4. Very short lived. Antonelli comes across the line. Fourth place for him. Nicely done. And Russell comes over the radio. Steering feels very light as I'm turning, and I went out the garage. It was very heavy, a bit weird. Russell just, well, of course, this is the thing. These drivers do have power steering in these cars, and if the hydraulic systems or the power steering fluids aren't exactly where they should be, then you can get this type of behavior where the steering goes light and heavy at different times. So I'm sure Mercedes will investigate and check that out. All right, top speeds coming through. We got Lando Norris 326 as he goes through the speed trap there. The speed trap, as you can see, is that little purple dot just above Alonso's name there on the right hand side of the screen. And we have got 2 DRS zones, 2 DRS detection points around this circuit, so that should help overtaking as well. F1 game, my first race was Barcelona 2019. Pretty good. I don't actually remember. Maybe Barcelona 2019 was one of the races where we had loads of drivers get lapped. It's too long ago for me to remember, to be honest. Yeah, I remember Seb Vettel was pretty quick down the straights in the Ferrari, but I can't remember anything else. Here is MAR. MAR is Victor Martins. He is doing a practice session with Williams, and we've got Ryo Hirakawa, who's doing a practice session with the Haas team. For you, when is Antonelli getting his maiden podium? Well, see, this is the thing. Maiden podium, Antonelli's been driving brilliantly, and if it was a different season, let's say it's 2024 and Mercedes were this quick, then Antonelli probably would have got his maiden podium by this point in the season. But given the close competition between between Max Verstappen, McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari, it's all so tight that the margins are way too close for Antonelli to come out on top and sort of essentially be able to hold his own for an entire race, for an entire qualifying session and an entire race distance. It will be winning on pure pace or getting a podium on pure pace is going to be very difficult for Antonelli, given that the McLarens are just so much quicker. So he's going to need a stroke of luck, really. And I'm going to be hoping that it starts raining in Canada for the next race that we've got is in Canada, and hopefully it's raining then. That could mix things up, and maybe Antonelli will do well then. We saw in Australia, his first race in Formula One, it was raining in Australia, and he was the only rookie to make no mistakes whatsoever and make it out right to the end of the Grand Prix and score some points. So he does pretty well in the wet, and I have a feeling that if it does start raining, that's probably his best shot of scoring a podium. Yeah, Alonso goes 1:15.4 from him. He goes a tenth and a half quicker. I'm sure the Spanish fans will be very happy about that. Alonso and Sainz, 2 drivers who should ideally make it through into Q3, both of them this weekend, and that'll give the fans something to cheer about for sure. And maybe we'll see a surprise podium. It'll be nice to see, but chances are slim as always, given the competition that we have this season. Any upgrades this weekend? We've got upgrades. Well, we've got upgrades / changes for all of the front wings or up and down the paddock. Every single team has got a modified front wing for this weekend. And apart from that, Mercedes have got some floor upgrades. Alpine have got the same, and Sauber have got the same. So no major upgrades for any other team apart from them. So yeah, Mercedes, Alpine, and Kick Sauber. The rest of the teams just with front wing tweaks and some minor things here and there, like modifying their cooling systems, modifying the rear wing, but pretty major stuff only for Mercedes, Alpine and Sauber. Oh, Verstappen goes purple in the first sector, looking very nice there. In fact, folks, I'll take you through a lap of the circuit. So this will probably be in sync with George Russell here. You come out of the final corner, and you just want to get onto the main straight, maximise the speed that you can down the straight here, and really long, very long DRS zone as well, and overtaking opportunity is always good into turn number 1, and the FIA have managed to do it quite well, so the drivers will be side by side. There's not, a straightforward just breeze past via DRS. It's actually a side-by-side overtake into turn 1, which is always great. You make your way through turn number 3. It's a very long corner. You want to minimise the amount of distance that you travel through there to, well, just reduce the lap time. Then you don't want to be touching the grass like I do on the exit of turn number 4, but you now go down the hill towards Worth Corner, and then you start going up the hill towards Campsa, where the car, well, you should be going flat through Campsa. In qualifying for sure, in the race maybe not, but you're flat through Campsa, and second DRS zone, second straight for the circuit. Braking very, very late, of course. You go take this outside. We used to take the hairpin at this part of the circuit, but we now take the longer, more sort of rounded off corner. And then previously we also used to take the chicane, but now we just take the rounded out corner again of turn number 13 and then turn number 14 here. You want to ideally do it flat. Me and my quali lap did not do it flat, but we did see Verstappen and I think Verstappen and Russell last year took the final corner flat in quali. All of the other drivers had a small lift, like they were still on the throttle, nobody tapped the brakes, but they weren't 100% on the power. I think Verstappen, Stroll and Russell last year were fully flat, and all of the other drivers weren't. So with the increased downforce levels, the quicker cars, the higher downforce levels, we should see a couple more drivers going flat through the final corner. And then, of course, it's also an issue of your tyres overheating. If your tyres are overheating, then it's a lot harder to go flat through the final corner. But we'll see how the drivers manage that. And yeah, for now, we've got Lando Norris. He goes purple in the first sector. Very nicely done. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in. By the way, we got 7,500 people, 7,600 people tuned into the stream. That's fantastic. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage, and I look forward to commentating for you guys for the entire, race weekend. Yeah. We should have a pretty good race this weekend. I mean, anything will be better than Monaco, let's be honest. But Spain has had a pretty good track record of overtakes in the past couple of years. We've had around 50 overtakes or so every single race for the past 3 years, which should definitely spice things up. And we got Lando Norris across the line up into first. Also, it would be very, very, very nice if we get a McLaren 1-2 in quali, and then they go into turn number 4, and they do exactly what Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton did. That would be fantastic, I think. It would really spice things up, bring Max Verstappen a little bit closer to the championship fight, and then we'll have a chance for the podiums to be thrown completely open. Maybe tensions will boil over right now. The tensions aren't particularly high between Norris and Piastri. They are very close in the Drivers' Championship, but they know the season's very, very long. We're only a third of the way through, so still a long time to go for the championship to be decided, and a lot of mistakes to be made, a lot of DNFs to avoid, and a lot of things can happen in the next 16 races. Alex Albon said they don't really have good results in Spain, as it has been difficult to get the car suitable for this track. Do you know why they struggle for this circuit? No, not really. Williams, for the past 3 years, haven't made it through into Q2. For the past 10 years, haven't made it through into Q3 at the Spanish Grand Prix circuit. So no, I don't really know why Williams are so bad. Typically, Williams are good at sort of low downforce circuits. That's where they're best at. This is one of the higher downforce ones, so maybe that's a contributing factor. But I think this weekend, given the improvements that they've made this season, they should be able to turn that around and hopefully break this streak of not going into Q3 for the past 10 years. F1 Gamer, who do you think will be leading the championship before the summer break? Ooh, I mean, that's a tough one, isn't it? Well, let's have a look at the standings right now then. So the current standings for the season is we have got Oscar Piastri in first place, 161 points. Lando Norris in second place, 158 points. And Max Verstappen, 136. So the two McLaren drivers are 3 points apart. And then there is a gap of 22 points from Verstappen to Lando Norris. So quite a big gap there between those two. But we shall wait and see. I'm probably gonna go with Piastri. I'm gonna just because he's currently been leading. He's been leading for quite a while, in fact, and he's got the most wins out of any driver this season. So I'm gonna go for Oscar Piastri to be leading the championship. If we just look at the race results, really, Piastri's been on the podium every single race apart from Australia, where he had that mistake. So he's won 4 races this season, and we've had Norris win. Norris has won 2. Verstappen has won 2. So. Yeah. Everyone give me your opinion on removing the circuit for next year. I mean, I think it's just a bad idea. The circuit has been on the calendar for quite a while. It's always produced good racing. I see no reason to remove it. But the Formula One does what they want to do. And I don't actually know if they are removing it next year. I'm not 100% certain. At least I haven't seen anything. But I'm not the most up to date on circuit news. So do let me know. It's a coin flip between the McLarens unless Max's car improves. That's very, very correct. And also, McLaren do typically do very well around circuits when the track temperature is hot. They for however or not however, just somehow they can manage their tires a lot better than all of the other teams, which partially, of course, is due to the fact that they can just run higher downforce levels because without compromising too much on drag, because they just have a more efficient car, like they just have a better car, and that's why they run more downforce, and more downforce means that they have less tire wear. But yeah, we'll see what they can do. And if, let's say, if Verstappen wins this race or gets close to winning this race, that basically suggests that McLaren don't have a huge advantage. But let's say this race, as you can see, track temperatures are up at 48 degrees, air temperature 30 degrees, right? It's extremely hot. If McLaren do run away with this, they still do have a sizable advantage. So we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I make a pretty... Like what I just said, in essence, was, if McLaren win by a big margin, then they have a sizable advantage, and if they don't, then they don't have a sizable advantage. Like a little bit of a pointless statement, but essentially, this circuit is a little bit important to consider because it's one where we have very high track temperatures, and McLaren should be good here. But if Verstappen is close, then that's a good sign right till the end of the season. Oh, McLaren the quickest? Well, who's top of the times? Lando Norris. So by the looks of it, yes, but they're all doing their long runs now, and lap times have still got a long way to improve. So we're currently in the 1 minute 15s, and last year for quali, I think we were down in 1 minute 40. No, 1 minute 13s, I think. So let me just double check the pole time for last year. Here is the Wikipedia page. Pole time was a 1 minute 11.3 Lando Norris last year. So who knows? We've got a lot of lap time to go down though. So 4 seconds worth of lap time. The circuit's got a rubber in. The track conditions ideally might get a little bit cooler. Then the dust and dirt will get pushed off the circuit, and then the drivers will put on some soft tires, and then we'll get to the 1 minute 11. So a long time to go. F1 Gamer, who do you think has a better capability for tyre management in the circuit? Because the circuit's known for ruining tyres quickly. Oh, it's McLaren. McLaren for sure. They have some pretty standout good performances in hot conditions. Mercedes are the exact opposite. They were really struggling in Saudi Arabia, where the track temperatures were very hot, even though it was, of course, a night race, but track temperatures were hot, and Mercedes were really struggling for tyre wear. The staff, I think Russell was, in fact, saying that he was getting close. He felt like he was getting close to a puncture, I think, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, Mercedes, they've brought upgrades this weekend, which should help them out, but if their car is not good in warm conditions, then we'll never know really if the upgrades have worked out well, or if it was the sort of the high temperatures slowing them down. All right, we got the quickest speed through the speed traps there from Yuki Tsunoda, 3:31 for him through the speed traps, and the slowest, as you can see through the speed traps here, 3:21, so around about, or 3:20, 3:19. So around about 10, 12 kilometer per hour difference between the quickest and the slowest, and Tsunoda very clearly there did get a toe. The second fastest is Stroll with 3:26. So yeah, we can have there's a pretty small difference between top speeds around here. What is the difference between green and yellow in the middle sector? Green is you're going quicker than your personal best, and yellow is you're going slower than your personal best. So that's essentially what the colours mean. Blue means coming in or out of the pit lane, and purple means you're the fastest out of any driver on the track. Grey Bouquet, thank you for joining the channel member. That is very much appreciated. Hope you, thanks for enjoying for helping out the channel and enjoying the coverage. Alex Albon also said that they were able to get good results this weekend. Well, we'll see. Ferrari said that they were going to be bad in Monaco, and Charles Leclerc ended up in second place. So I wouldn't count out too many things really. The teams always come in and set low expectations, because it's much better to set low expectations and then do well than to come into the weekend saying that, oh yeah, we're going to be we're going to be getting a podium this weekend, and then you're absolutely nowhere and you get knocked out of Q3. HIR, that is Ryo Hirakawa, and MAR, that is Victor Martins. Two rookies currently in 18th and 20th position respectively, and they're just getting to grips with Formula 1 cars really, and getting some practice in. Okay, Sainz goes up into 13th place, but really these lap times aren't too much to look into. These are the first couple of runs with setups that aren't perfect for all of these drivers here. And as you can see, after about 8 or 9 laps, everyone came into the pits to change their setup anyway. So, yeah, not too much to read into. Okay, also folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do that. I very much would be appreciated. Hopefully we can hit 166k subs by the end of today. That'll be the goal, to hit 200k by the end of the season. So, oh no, not the end of the season, halfway point of the season, by the summer break. If it's possible by the summer break, that'd be incredible, but we shall just have to wait and see. Worth is the least Spanish name. Indeed, it is. I don't know why there's that corner is called Worth. In fact, it has I think it's got a double dot on top of the U. I think it's called umlaut. I'm not sure. I'm not German really, but yeah, it's meant to have that. I just couldn't figure out how to type it in, and I forgot. Well, you can normally just copy paste it in, but I just forgot how to do that. So. All right. Also, I do have to mention I'm still sponsored by Surfshark VPN. I totally forgot about that. So if you guys are interested in watching Formula 1 for $2 a month, all you've got to do is get Surfshark VPN. There's a link in the description, and then once you do that is you download it onto your computer, you join an Austrian VPN server, and then you go onto Google and you search ORF. It's not Service TV this weekend, it's ORF this weekend. O for Oscar, R for Race, and F for Ferrari. And you make an account, log in, and enjoy, really. So that's how you do. We've got probably at this point 300 people on the channel watching it via this method. It does work, and of course if it doesn't work for whatever reason for you, you can always get a refund. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested, and yeah, there's a link in the description. Brilliant. Okay, I'll take you through another onboard of the circuit here. Why not? Yeah, 8,000 people tuned into live stream. That is fantastic. Currently, yeah, we've just got the drivers in sort of this middle lull, really. We're sort of approaching the halfway point of the session. The teams have done their first set of runs, and now they're preparing for their second set. So here we go then. Oh no, wait, why did I press Surfshark? Here we go. Onboard. Right, so you come out of the final corner. You want to get a very, very good exit down this straight here. You got DRS, of course, coming down the straight. Quite a long DRS zone, in fact. And you're just gaining heaps of time as you with the DRS flap open as you make your way towards turn 1. You brake at the 70-meter mark. You sort of brake on this little... Actually, we can do a sort of a slow lap around here. We might as well, because we've got a little bit of time. So I'll sort of pause it at parts where it's important. And as you can see... Oh, I should probably go back just 1 second there. But you hit the brakes at this little grey part of the circuit. I'm not going to be able to time it properly. Yeah, as you can see here, just this little grey part of the circuit, there's this sort of, I don't know, concrete patch. And all of the drivers use that as their reference point for hitting the brakes going into turn 1. Of course, if you've got a slipstream and DRS, you want to brake slightly earlier than that, but you brake at this little concrete patch here. Shift down into 4th gear and rotate the car through this corner very, very nicely. Then you want to stay as close to the inside as possible on your quali lap. On your race runs, you want to run out wide, but in your quali lap to minimize the distance. And then again here, you brake at... Yeah, so in your quali run, you'll go right to the inside to minimize distance because you don't care about tyre wear. Whereas when you're doing your race, you want to run all the way out wide because it minimizes the amount of tyre wear that you have. Then again, now for Repsol, you brake right underneath the bridge here. Yeah, the drivers use the bridge as their braking point here. You just hit the brakes under the bridge, shift down into 4th gear, and then just try to stay tight within here. You're sort of going over a little crest, so you can't exactly see the grass on the exit or where the curb is, so the drivers have to just sort of do it off memory and make sure not to go off the gravel. Then this corner here, this is a very, very tricky... Well, this first corner isn't too tricky. The car is sort of... the track is sort of cambered inwards, so you're leaning towards the left-hand side of the circuit while turning in to a left-hander. So that sort of helps you through there. But then on the second corner here, you sort of go over this crest and this bump, which makes it very easy to spin out. We've seen some drivers in previous years spin out of that corner, but... yeah, the drivers, of course, are aware of the bump and the crest, and they try to avoid spinning out. Then you go and do take this long part of the circuit here, where the circuit's been sort of smoothened out rather than a sharp hairpin. And then you go through... I'm not even going to try and pronounce this corner name because there's no way I get this right. And then you get towards the final corner where it's most important just to be flat here. I obviously can't take it flat because I'm in the 2021 cars, but in the 2025 cars, the drivers should be able to take it flat for their quali runs. But yeah, it's a pretty good circuit, and lots of overtaking opportunities into turn number 10, into turn number 1. It's pretty good. Okay, so Alex Albon not taking part in this session. He is just giving his car to Victor Martins, and he'll be taking part in FP2. And Ryo Hirakawa is stepping in for Esteban Ocon, and he is he's driving for Esteban Ocon for free practice 1, and then in free practice 2 Ocon will be back and driving as normal. Why do you use F121 and not F125 or 24? I use F121 because that's the most recent game that I've got. Well, that's the most recent lap that I recorded. I will record future laps on the F125 game because EA Sports actually gave me a code to it. Given that my name is F1 Gamer, they actually thought I did gaming, and they sent over a code. But I don't do any gaming, but I'll still take the code. And I will probably do the next couple of laps, the next couple of like quali laps or like these hot laps that I show you guys. That'll probably be on the new game. And yeah, these games are expensive, really. And there's pretty much no difference. Like, yeah, sure, the handling changes a little bit from year to year, but I care about driving around the circuit and I have fun regardless if it's the 21 game or the 2018 game or whatever. So I don't really mind. That game is trash. I can try it out for you. Oh yeah, I mean no. I think I'll try it out. And the code has already been claimed, folks. It's just I haven't downloaded it onto my computer yet. All right, we got Russell across the line, first place for him. He's on a set of medium tyres. First of the sort of front runners to go out on mediums here, and he goes half a tenth clear of Lando Norris. To be expected, the medium tyres are about half a second quicker than the hards. All right, very nicely done from him. And yeah, we get Antonelli across the line, third place for him. Brilliant job. Can Leclerc get pole? I mean, It's going to be a tough one. Let's see. I mean, he's coming out on soft tires now, so we'll see what his sort of qualifying like performance will be like. But I don't really know. It's going to be a tough one, really. For McLaren are typically best when track conditions are warm. Ferrari theoretically should be getting better this weekend because everyone else is having to modify their car quite significantly for the new front wing changes. Ferrari not so much, so they shouldn't lose too much performance, whereas all of the other teams should lose a little bit of performance here and there. And maybe they'll gain some time. Pole position, though, is going to be a bit of a stretch. Hey. Do you race in game with the view of the show, or do you sit in the cockpit? Just curious. No. When I'm playing the game, I also play from the sort of the on top of the cockpit one. It would be pretty cool to play in the cockpit, and I probably should. It just makes it a bit of a cooler experience, really. But no, I typically play on the sort of outside T-cam onboard camera. I might do that, in fact, for the new game. Maybe it's worth recording a lap sort of from cockpit view. I don't know. Let me know, guys. Would you prefer? Maybe I'll have 2 laps recorded, one with the cockpit view and one with sort of an outboard view. But would you guys prefer to see a lap sort of from the driver's perspective, and you can see how little visibility they have going over some certain corners and things like that. All right, Hulkenberg across the line, second place for him. Great lap. And we're getting a couple more drivers coming out on some soft tyres now. So, brilliant job there. But yeah, he's out on softs. Lando Norris's time was from hard tyres. So, 2 pretty different things. They are very, very different. Cockpit lap. Yeah, I mean, I could probably do multiple, really. It probably won't be too much effort to record a cockpit lap and record an onboard lap. I just got to make sure that I don't crash too often. And then I could maybe even do one from an outboard view, so you guys can see it from an outboard perspective, like what the TV cameras might show you. But who knows? Shows one now. Currently my Xbox is downstairs and I am upstairs. So yeah. And there's no way for me to plug my Xbox into the streaming setup either. Alright, we've got 28 minutes left of the session, and we've got drivers coming out on soft tyres now. Let's see, Charles Leclerc looking really good here in the middle sector. Verstappen goes purple in the first sector, though. Leclerc goes purple in the middle sector, and we'll see what they can do. The McLarens as well out on some soft tyres. Lando Norris's, so is Piastri. So we're getting some real good looks into who's quick and who is not. And let's see what Verstappen can do through the middle sector. He's not looking as quick as Leclerc is, really. Leclerc goes across the line at half a second clear of George Russell. To be expected, the soft tyres are half a second or so quicker than the mediums. And Sainz goes across the line, 4th place for him. He's on the medium tyres. Good job there, and let's see what Verstappen can do. Verstappen a tenth slower than Leclerc in the middle sector, and we'll see what he can do in the final sector. But Verstappen looking nice and racy as always. Across the line he comes. What's it going to be for Mr. Max Verstappen? First position, 10th and a half clear. He gained a lot of time in the first sector. In fact, he went 3/10 quicker just in the first sector alone. So it didn't matter that he was slower in the second and third sectors because he was just had a huge margin in the first one. Okay. And yeah, he was carrying quite a bit more speed as well. I think going through sector 2, Max is just a little bit more committed than Leclerc, so he's just carrying more speed through some corners, which is probably helping him out. Yeah, going through Kamsa, I think that's the one. Turn number 9. Some drivers are erring on the side of caution. Really, it is practice. There's no need to go flat through turn number 9. If you can, you will, but you don't really need to. I think some of the other drivers were lifting. Verstappen wasn't. Norris, though, has taken the fastest first sector and the fastest second sector. Hamilton, purple in the final sector, goes a 10th quicker than Leclerc and only 11 milliseconds back from Verstappen. Ooh, looking good here, looking good for Ferrari. And now here comes Lando Norris to destroy everyone's lap times, I'm guessing. He went a 10th quicker than Verstappen in the first sector, 10th quicker than Leclerc in the second sector. Across the line he comes. He's 3/10 clear of Verstappen, purple in all 3 sectors. McLaren domination is back, ladies and gentlemen. But let's see, Piastri can mix things up. And well, probably get close to Lando Norris. Actually, maybe not on this lap. He's quite a bit slower, in fact, in the middle sector. 4/10, in fact. So maybe got hit with a bit of traffic or just made a mistake. F1 Game, where do you predict Sainz to finish? I think Sainz could get top 10, really. It'll be good to score some points, but I don't think a podium is really on the cards for Carlos Sainz this weekend. All right. What happened to Piastri? I mean, it's one lap here, ladies and gents. One lap. That Piastri was 6/10 off Norris, and yeah, he lost the time in the middle sector. So it is what it is. He'll gain it back on the next lap. Okay, what else have we got going on then? Not all that much. Not all that much. Some drivers are coming in after their hot laps. Yeah, Leclerc came in and then has gone out again. But yeah, with track temperatures about 49 degrees now, 49, so hot, and essentially that just means the drivers are gonna have to do a very very slow cool lap. Thankfully, the circuit is wide enough that it can accommodate probably 3 or 4 cars wide, and they're not going to be causing too much traffic like we saw in Monaco. Last year's quality time was 1:11.3, so we are still 2 seconds off last year's quality time, and yeah, drivers really aren't pushing all that hard. I'd be very surprised if I saw anyone go flat through the final corner now. Like, going flat through the final corner is only sort of Q2, Q3 activities. Otherwise, there's no point in risking it in a free practice 1 session. Also, anyone that's just tuned in, we have got 2 rookies in the session this weekend. Well, in FP1 session. That's Victor Martins in 19th position and Ryo Hirakawa in 20th. They're currently in the pit lane. Maybe they'll come out on some soft tyres, do some soft runs, but it's a little bit risky to send out some inexperienced drivers on some softs on qualifying fuel loads. Probably not the best idea, but we'll see what Williams and Haas do. And we've got Gasly coming out now. He did his first run on hard tyres, 15 laps on the hards. He comes out now on a set of soft tyres. Very nicely done. Study group, I'd appreciate if you didn't spam. And just because you've spammed, I'm not going to answer your question. So, yeah. I don't really want to be helping you guys out if you spam. So, Driggy with Max. Max and George's suggestions to improve the Monaco Grand Prix. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Some of the suggestions have been interesting, but I think the best way to fix the Monaco Grand Prix would be to duplicate the Interlagos circuit and just add that into Monaco. Just get rid of the Monaco circuit altogether and just put the Interlagos circuit in instead. That would really fix things, wouldn't it? Or maybe put Spa in as well. You know, add in the height of Eau Rouge, and that would really fix some things. But no, I don't really know. The best way to fix Monaco, make the cars smaller, make them lighter, and make it easier to overtake somehow. Question's still up in the air about how you do that one. I don't think this year's pole time will beat last year's. Maybe. I mean, the thing is, the cars have got quicker, but then, of course, the flexi wings have been banned. So, in one thing is suggesting that the cars will be faster, the other thing is suggesting they'll be slower. We'll just have to wait and find out. Karts at Monaco, indeed, they do need to have karts. They do need to do a Lego race around Monaco. That'll spice things up. Only for 1 championship point. The driver that finishes in first position gets 1 point. Apart from that, it doesn't matter. But 1 point Lego championship race around Monaco. Why don't they do push lap after push lap, like after a flying lap? Why do the drivers go into slow mode? Well, so sort of 2 reasons, really. The battery. The teams have enough battery capacity to do around about 1 flying lap, like 1 flying lap at maximum attack. And then after that, they don't actually have enough battery. Like they go from 100% battery at the start of their flying lap, probably down to like 30%, 20%. So they wouldn't be able to do 2 back-to-back laps in terms of battery, like how much battery they have. The second thing is that the tires would overheat. After you do your qualifying lap, your tires they probably start out at, let's say, 95 degrees. By the end of it, they're like 110. So you can't do another lap of that because you just don't have sufficient grip. So you go onto a slow lap where you recharge the battery, you cool down the tires, and then you do another hot lap. That's the reasoning why the teams and all of the drivers don't do push lap after push lap. It's purely because they'll run out of battery and they don't have enough tire. Yeah, the tire window isn't big enough. Who needs a battery with a V10? That's a good point. Who does need a battery with a V10? Get Monaco out, Mugello and Portimao back. Portimao would be a great circuit. Right, it's very close to Spain as well, so you don't have to travel too far and race at Portimao. That would be fantastic. The circuit there is brilliant. The elevation change is fantastic, and circuit's wide enough. There is a huge potential for DRS zones and overtaking. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. F1 Gamer, do you think that it's nice to have a track like Monaco, which is dependent heavily on qualifying, because most of the times the teams regroup if they have a bad quali, but Monaco doesn't allow it? Well, I think, there is an aspect of making qualifying important and having a race weekend where quali is important, but the thing is, Monaco isn't now a one-off street circuit. Let's go back 30 years, 40 years, then Monaco was a standout special once in a season occasion. Every other racetrack would be a dedicated race circuit pretty much, and then you'd have Monaco racing around the streets of Monaco, which would be something exciting, something new. Albeit, yes, you don't have that much overtaking, but it was exciting and it was something different. Here, like now, currently in 2025, we race around Singapore, we race around Baku, we race around Vegas, like race around Saudi Arabia. There's loads of street circuits, so it's not got that special factor as well. So then it's just another circuit which is like a lot of the other circuits, and it's also boring. So I don't know. That's the issue around Monaco. Like if it was a one-off street circuit, Formula One only raced at dedicated circuits, and then Monaco was a one special off, then I don't think people would complain too much. But when you can see other circuits like Singapore, like Saudi Arabia, where you do have the ability to overtake and also be a street circuit, then people are questioning, why do we even keep Monaco around? Yeah. Who's HIR? HIR is Ryo Hirakawa. He's just driving for Esteban Ocon in free practice 1. Okay. What's happening with Mercedes? They're suddenly getting slower. Well, Mercedes, they're on medium tyres, and we've got the Ferraris on soft. So pace difference is a bit different, really. And everyone in the top 9 is on soft tyres. So you do gain about half a second, 0.6 of a second, switching from the mediums to the softs, and that's what we'll come to see, really. When they put on their soft tyres, then they'll probably they'll split the 2 Ferraris. George Russell's lap time, if you take off 0.6, he splits the 2 Ferraris. Adelaide was also a street circuit from a long time ago. Fair enough, yeah. I know I did yeah, okay. But the point, I think, still sort of stands. Like, there are a lot more street circuits right now than there were back in the past. Adelaide also, we should maybe go back to Adelaide. Like, maybe alternate between the one in Melbourne and Adelaide. If it's still possible, I don't know. Obviously, it's a street circuit, so maybe the roads are different now, but... What are the tyre compounds? It is the C1, the C2, the C3, the hardest of Pirelli's range here for Spain. Liam Lawson across the line, set us off tyres, up into 6th position, purple in the final sector. Brilliant job there from Mr. Liam Lawson. Okay, and as you can see, a couple of drivers did do 2 runs on their soft tyres, but they didn't improve on the second run, and that's to be expected around here. Tyre wear is extremely high, and with track temperatures up in the 49-degree range, I would highly doubt that we see improvements on the second lap of soft tyres. Like in Monaco, you can definitely improve because the tyres barely wear out around Monaco, so you can do 2 laps, 3 laps, 4 laps on soft tyres and still improve your lap time. But around a circuit like Spain, it's one and done, one lap, and that's it for the softs. Everyone, given which part of the circuit can we see overtakes? Into turn number 1 there, or Elf corner, as as is the name, where Yuki Tsunoda is currently, and then at the end of the DRS zone, just where now Lawson is heading towards at turn number 10, sorry. There's a pretty good overtaking opportunity there. Those are the two main ones. But we've seen quite a few overtakes. In fact, around the outside of turn number 4, if a driver makes a mistake going through 2, or they're offline, let's say they're defending, right? So going into turn number 1, we've got a driver defending on the inside, a driver who is trying to overtake around the outside. It doesn't work. They can't get the overtake done. But then going into turn number 3, their line is compromised, and then we see some drivers swoop around the outside at 4, send one to the inside at turn number 4, loads of opportunities. So the main ones, turn number 1 and 10, but apart from that, a lot of these corners are overtakeable at. Why is Lando so far ahead of Oscar? I think Oscar just made a mistake on his lap and then couldn't improve again because the soft tyres had worn out. So, yeah. Yuki at Elf Corner. Yeah. What is Gasly's message? Let's see, what is Gasly's message? Nothing. I think Lawson's going to be pushing. Nothing to... The drivers just warning the engineers, warning each other about traffic, warning their drivers about traffic, and making sure that they don't get hit with a grid penalty. Oh, look at this. Russell over the radio complaining about the front left tyre. Says the front left doesn't look too good. I mean, I called it here first, folks. I said this before the session even started. The drivers would complain about the front left, and here we have it. George Russell, first driver to complain about the front left tyre. And yeah, that's the thing. This circuit absolutely eats up front left tyres, and George Russell's the first one to fall victim of it. And the medium tyres, the Mercedes, just doesn't do so well in hot conditions. And here we are, 49-degree track temperature. Oh my God. Yeah, last year's quali was a 1:11.393, so we are quite a ways away from last year's pole time. Okay. All right, it is 14 minutes left of the session here, folks. Also, I would just like to mention I am sponsored by Surfshark VPN, so if you guys are interested in watching Formula 1 for only $2 a month, all you've got to do is get Surfshark VPN using the link in the description, join an Austrian VPN server. Firstly, download Surfshark VPN and then join an Austrian VPN server. Then go on to Google, search ORF, and once you've done that, you can make an account, log in, and watch Formula 1. So, yeah, it works. You've got 300 or so people using it on the channel right now. You don't have to buy the most expensive Surfshark thing. Just the one on the left, the cheapest one, will do just fine. And if it doesn't work for whatever reason, you can always get a refund. So, there you go. All right. That is that. There's a link in the description for Surfshark if you guys are interested. The commentary is in German, so if you don't understand German commentary, if you don't understand German, then you can mute that and you can listen to my commentary on top. And if you do understand German, then that's of course fantastic for you. So yeah. McLaren should be slow, right? Well, McLaren should be slow because of the flexi wings being banned, but then they will also probably get quicker because we're in hot conditions, and McLaren seems to be the only team. McLaren seems to just have a huge advantage in these hot conditions. So, yeah. All right, when is FP2? FP2 is, so let me have a look what time it is right now. FP2 will start in 2 hours and 40 minutes. 2 hours and 40 minutes. So, yeah, not long. F1 Game weren't you sponsored by F1 TV Pro? I still am, but I just don't do, there's a link in the description to F1 TV Pro as well if you guys are interested, but, yeah, it's up to you. Whichever one you prefer. I guess I'm sort of like partnered with them. I'm not really sponsored by them, so I don't know. Doesn't really matter anyway. We're 11 minutes away from the end of the session. The drivers have done their soft tyre runs by the looks of it. Nobody's really coming out on fresh sets of softs. We're going to have to wait till FP2 to see what Russell and Antonelli are going to be doing on their soft tyres. and what their pace is going to be like. Not too promising pace really for Aston Martin. Alonso down in 12th and Stroll in... Oh, Stroll goes up into 12th, sorry. But yeah, both drivers, 12th and 13th, not too promising for the Aston Martin crew. Who knows? Everyone, can we watch the sealed lap? Yeah, why not? So, here we go then. Come out of the final corner, just get a very, very nice good exit onto the main straight, and very good overtaking opportunity, of course. And this is the time when the drivers will be changing settings on their steering wheels, getting stuff ready when their engineers come over the radio to tell them to change some settings. And then you make your way through turns number 1 and 2, just a right left, and now turn number 3. You minimize the distance. You know, you stick to the right hand side if it's quali. You go all the way out to the left if it's the race. Brake under the bridge here for this corner, and you just want to get onto the power smoothly. You can't really see the exit from the driver's view, but you kind of just got to hope where. You've got to remember from memory basically where the curb is and not drive onto the grass. Then now you go towards the Worth corner, where losing the car over the bump is quite easy, but the drivers now of course are used to that, and they can typically just back off the throttle for a little bit before as they go over the crest and the bump to not lose the car. You're flat through camp, so hopefully in qualifying spec for sure, and then you go onwards towards turn number 10. Then you know, this corner was changed. Previously, it used to be a hairpin. It was a lot sharper, but then they changed that for 2022. I think that's when they changed it. Then, of course, they removed the chicane as well, and you come out towards the final corner where you want to ideally go flat in quali, and in the race, you just want to minimize the amount of tyre wear that you can get through there. But that's a lap of the circuit around here in Barcelona. It's a pretty good circuit, loads of overtaking opportunities, and yeah, actually, I think watching a race at Barcelona would be pretty good. Getting a seat at the grandstand at turn number 1 or maybe at turn number 10. I think that would be a great one. All right. They come over the radio to Alonso saying, we can change the flaps if you want. And then Alonso's, I just seen the engine going properly down the straights, and then the engineer comes over the radio saying, it's okay if you want to, you can use Strat 3. Then Alonso comes over the radio replying saying that I don't want to lose 0.2 every single lap. So clearly Strat 3 is clearly a slower mode or some other mode that slows down the performance, lose 0.2 every straight. That's what he's saying. So Strat 3 is obviously a lower power mode. But Alonso basically just saying that the energy deployment isn't happening when it should be down the straights. So the way it's sort of described as clipping by some drivers, but what happens is the drivers and the teams and the cars all have this sort of system where they track where they are on the circuit, and based off where they are. So the cars think they know where they are around the circuit, and based off what they think, they will either deploy the battery, and they'll go, oh, okay, well, I'm going to deploy, an extra 100 horsepower from the battery or an extra 50 horsepower, whatever it is. And then when they get to a braking zone, they're like, what's the point in deploying power to the battery if you're in a braking zone? Exactly, there's no point. So then they switch off the power deployment. The issue is for Fernando Alonso is that he's going down the straight, and then the car thinks that it's reached a braking zone, so it stops deploying power to the rear wheels, and then he suddenly just loses a bunch of straight line speed, which is the issue that he's suffering from. Strat 3 would probably turn the entire battery into a lower power mode, and it would change some settings up and stuff like that to make the issue go away, but then of course he loses time just going down the straight. So who knows? Aston Martin will have to figure that one out. I mean, all of the other teams have figured it out. It shouldn't be too difficult for Aston Martin to get it working. Oh, yellow flag. What's that? Stroll has stopped at turn number 6. He's continuing going. Okay. Yeah, as I said, turn number 6, turn number 7, pretty difficult set of corners, and I think Stroll might have had a bit of an incident off into the gravel at one of those, just momentarily bringing out the yellow flag before he continued on. All right. The engine could easily endure the whole race with max power. These engines have to do 4 races. No. The teams only have 3 engines, I think, for the entire season. 3, maybe 4, I can't remember. But they have to do 6 races at least. So and they can't run at maximum power because the battery would run out. That's the issue. Like, yeah, the engines can go full send, but if the battery runs out of power, like electricity, then what are you going to do? You don't have full power. All right. 6 minutes left on the clock here, ladies and gents. We've got Norris and Leclerc, Piastri all out on some soft tyres here, old soft tyres, and they're looking at the lap times: 119s for Charles Leclerc, 121s for the McLarens. So clearly some different fuel loads, but maybe the McLarens are thinking about running the softs as their first stint, looking at the tyre wear. So because the thing is, the run from the start finish straight all the way down towards turn number 1 is very, very long, and you do want to get a good exit. So you do want to get a good race start, so it might be worth sort of just starting on the softs to make sure that you can hold on to first place or whatever position that you qualify in. And then if you have a good enough strategy, then you can still not lose out too much time, but who knows. Yeah, if McLaren start the race on softs and then do 2 stints on hards, it could probably work out for them, but we'll just have to wait and see. Alonso comes over the radio saying he's going to come into the garage. They're going to have to check the car. Things aren't performing as expected, so the mechanics are going to do a full run through, full systems diagnosis of what's going on with the car, make sure all systems are working as expected, and hopefully Alonso will be back and lapping a little bit quicker for free practice 2. Free practice 2, ladies and gents, is in 2.5 hours. I will be streaming in 2 hours' time, but yeah. Hope to see you guys around then for that. And then we'll get a little bit more accurate of lap times from the Mercedes team as well. And everyone else will be doing, I think they'll be doing their race runs or some more race runs. We'll keep an eye out on the lap times. But the FP2 session starts when the race would finish, so it's not the most representative thing in the world, but it's the best the teams have got. So I'm sure they'll make do. If you had the chance to revive a Formula One team that doesn't exist anymore, what team would you like to bring back? I would like to bring back, well, to be fair, I haven't watched Formula One for that long, so I don't really know, but I would probably go with for Force India, really. Force India, that pink car always looked pretty good, and the other thing was that they somehow always managed to score some surprise podiums here and there. They had the smallest budget out of any Formula One team, and still they would score some surprise podiums here and there, partly due to the fact Sergio Perez was just such a good driver. So maybe I'd bring back Force India. Of course, they've sort of merged into Aston Martin now. Force India, Racing Point, Aston Martin, but I think that'd be a good shout. Minardi would be pretty cool. Let's see, maybe BMW can come back into the sport. Of course, I think it was BMW Sauber at one point. So maybe them. Lotus, Brawn GP, all of it. I mean, it would be very interesting. Anyone really, any old team will be very nice. Just more teams in the sport, more action for us. I can't really complain, can I? Okay, so we got Hamilton out on hards, Charles Leclerc out on softs. They're lapping on the exact same lap time, though. Interesting. I don't know how that's happened, but 19 lap old hards, 14 lap old softs. Someone's on. They're clearly on different fuel loads, but still lapping pretty similar. And apart from that, we've just got Colapinto in the pits. I don't know why he's been in the pits for quite a while, but maybe some issues there for Colapinto. Same thing for Alonso. They're checking the car. Alonso's more than confident around driving around this circuit. He's driven this circuit in Formula One races just probably, over 20 times now. So that's just 6,000 kilometers from Formula One races alone, let alone practice sessions, qualifyings, and testings. Alonso's probably done the most laps around this circuit out of any Formula One driver. He's probably done most laps around any circuit, in fact. Out of the current grid, Alonso's probably done the most laps around any circuit in the any circuit that has been on the calendar before, of course. Why don't you ask poll questions from viewers to get more audience? Well, I could ask poll questions, but I think it's, I don't know. Let me know if you guys would prefer to answer polls and stuff. But at least for me, when I was sort of watching my own stream back on YouTube, or like I had it up on my phone, if I was trying to type into chat, the poll would block half of the chat, so then it kind of like you can't type in chat properly. So I don't know. It's let me know. I'll figure some stuff out. But yeah, 56 seconds left here, folks, of the session. Not too much going on as expected. The drivers just doing their race runs at this point, and we'll be live in 2 hours' time for free practice 2. Yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. If you guys have enjoyed the coverage, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to hit the subscribe button as well. It'll be fantastic to see you guys around for future streams, and hopefully, you can help the channel make its way towards 200k. Maybe by the halfway point, ideally by the end of the season. Yeah. Who's my favourite team? I mean, my favourite driver is Seb Vettel. My favourite team, I don't really have one because Seb Vettel isn't driving anymore. So, yeah. Alright then. Yeah, not too long. 8 seconds, 6 seconds. All of the drivers, just nothing really special. It's a pretty standard practice session around Barcelona. No crashes, nothing like that. In fact, the only thing we had was one yellow flag from Lance Stroll, and one key takeaway was Piastri was a bit slower than Norris on the one hot lap that he did. But the one hot lap does not mean anything really. We've still got a lot of time left to go. So, see you in 2 hours' time for free practice 2. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys, and yeah, see you then. I'll end the stream now. I'll take you over to the free practice 2 stream. So just hit the like button on that one and the reminder button as well. It'll send you a notification once we go live. And yeah, hope to see you then. Bye bye, fellas.